Hi, welcome. On this next series of videos, I'm going to be responding by way of a conversation between pictured here, Bill Church, goes by Bow Wow Bill on social media, and Ivan Belabanov. And here's the thing, okay? I'd actually had responded to one of Ivan's videos he put out a while back. And in fact, on his Facebook, he encouraged responses, okay, to what he was saying in terms of the real title of it, the real problem in the dog training world, in terms of this whole thing about pure positive. And so instead of just putting a comment, again, I did a video response to it, which triggered a copyright strike by way of Ivan. Okay. And the video I did was not it was done under fair usage. It was information based. The problem was obviously he just didn't like what I had to say because the same video was used by way of Miracle Canine, David from Miracle Canine. In fact, I brought this up on David's podcast. You can go watch the podcast where I raised this issue, and Dave was just shaking his head because the same video. Okay, he used the same video I used a lot more of it, and it's still up and running on YouTube. My video was taken down by way of YouTube. Back then, at the time, YouTube was, I think, more sensitive in terms of just copyright. But there was nothing in that video that would have, for me, okay, caused me to issue a copyright strike. Clearly, and in fact, here's the thing: you can go watch that same video I did. I put it up on Rumble, and Rumble being a platform that's more pro, anti censorship. And so the videos I've done are up on Rumble. Now, because here's the thing about this. Now, this is why, again, you'll find this series up. I'm actually going to put this up on YouTube. This is Bill Church's video, his podcast and his channel. So, but here's the thing: as I go through, and you can watch all my videos, by way of these breakdowns I do, filling in the gaps, having a conversation. You're not going to hear me engaging in personal attacks and cheap shots. In fact, I just went through a bunch of videos, did my own kind of, purging, my own audit of a couple trainers who, again, moving forward, you won't hear me mentioning their names, who just, these trainers want to get very personal, okay? Cheap shots, get personal attacks. This is the same playbook over and over again with some of these trainers. And so when I'm responding to some of that, I feel myself losing my focus, getting kind of, pushing the boundaries with getting personal with these individuals. Because here's the thing, I'm not a robot. Okay. So when these trainers want to get personal, the response is to kind of push back. And so some of the things I say after a period of time, I just take the videos, those type of videos, and I just remove all of them. So I've removed quite a few of that type of video. My original flipping the script series, a lot of my videos are still on my channel. Okay, so you're still gonna find like 85% of my video content. I kind of go through and I kind of audit because it is about information. Okay, this is about putting forward specific information as to what the real problem is in the dog training world. So again, very interesting that when I do talk about the real problem, guess what? Some of these trainers, like Ive and others, they don't like it. All right. And so even though they have people on their podcast, this is why I put out a challenge video a while back. Like, let's have a real conversation. But some of these trainers, you can see them in their systems, and it's clear to me that they don't want to have that type of conversation because the type of people they bring on, and even this podcast, they're going like 4 hours. Like, what are you talking about in 4 hours? Okay. In fact, it's funny because if you go and watch my debate video I did by way of Miracle Canine, David from Miracle Canine, I get right into it. It goes a while, but I go into all the controversies, why they happen. I get into the specifics as to what defines training, a process. And so, sparks are going to fly that way. If you're talking about the real issue, okay, but it's not. But it's about information. This is why you go on to my Facebook page, go at the very top of my Facebook page. I call it the question of the century. It's there specifically as to what is the criteria these trainers are using to establish that perceptions of dogs are changing the right way by way of, again, diminishment of unwanted behavioral issues. What is it? Okay, within the framework of response. They can't answer it, right? Because the criteria I talk about is not established through whether it's learning based, treats, using motivating agents, play based, okay? It's not reconciled that way. It's very specific. So, I talk about even this saying has been around since the beginning about, well, there's more than one way to train a dog. You hear that type of saying. You hear these balanced dog trainers, they give pure positive trainers, a hall pass. In fact, they align with the exact same concepts up to a certain point. Why is that? Because they align with the exact same idea of things. Okay, they jump in the exact same way. They approach a relationship problem between dogs and owners as a learning based exercise, and they follow that learning based path. But again, that's a problem because when I talk about this fake and phony picture, okay, that many dog owners experience by way of responses. So dogs can look great moving around. And meanwhile, the relationship hasn't actually gotten any better. This is a common theme, okay, in the dog training world. This is my focus. Is what I talk about the problem. So, but when you look at the state of the dog training world, you go and look at these. Here's another example of it. These trainers that jump on the podcast. Like my question is like, what are they doing? Like, what are they doing really? The dog training world's a train wreck. What are they doing? Well, they're just focused on their own, approaches, right? And it's not about confronting the real problem at all. It's not. Okay. That's the truth of it. So I'm going to go through here again. This is going to be a multi-part, breakdown series for anyone that's interested in understanding the real problems. I'm going to be filling in some gaps here. This is information based. Okay, this isn't about cheap shots and going on. But a lot of trainers in the dog training world, you will hear them get personal because that's where it's going to go. Okay, if you're not focused on the real problem, you're marketing a certain idea of things, it's going to clash the wrong way. Okay, that's just how it is, and this is where these trainers. It's all about popularity, social media. You see a lot of stuff the dog training world's come part of the same. So this system of training, what I'm about is about being real about the real problem, being real about helping dogs and owners the right way, and that's it. So it's not a popular message, okay? It's very divisive, but I say divisive the right way, okay? Because it's going to push up against, okay? Well, all these trainers are marketing for a reason, okay? I understand they're all aligned with the same idea of things, but then don't take my word for anything, do your own research, look around on social media, dog training world. You're going to see all these trainers are all over the place. You see this thing with even Ivan's recent, remote collar, study. Okay. Zach George was all over it, dogs yelping and all this craziness. I talk about all that stuff, right? How things align through, you get the, again, socially, by way of a proper foundation in terms of relationship, okay? Reconciling even through certain devices, okay? Making sense to the dog, okay? It's an extension of the relationship that way. So, but we're going to get into this. I'm not sure how much, 4 hours. I mean, I'm not going to be able to respond to all of this, what's being discussed here. So I'm probably going to jump around a little bit and tried my best. But this will be a multi-part series. So you'll find this on my Rumble channel, on YouTube. I'll put this on YouTube because I think I'm safe at this point, okay, from these overly sensitive dog trainers. Because here's the thing: if I even want to have a real conversation, what's the big deal about actually having a real discussion with someone like me? And don't get me wrong, I'm not. I would go on Ivan's podcast to be popular. Okay, it wouldn't. In fact, it wouldn't be about that. But we get right into it immediately. Okay, because I get into the actual problem. In fact, that's what I do. I talk about what the real issue is. And that's how if you really, again, I talk about ethically, morally, if you really care about dogs, you want to actually address what the real issue is, not just about marketing or making money that way. It shouldn't be about that. This should be about dogs and people the right way, period. Um, so I'm going to play some of this, the introduction part of this conversation, and respond to it as we go along.
On the Bow Wow Bill page too. There we go. So we are live. So if you want to share this to your audience as well, Ivan, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It takes a while for people to trickle in. Thank you for watching another live stream here on the Bow Wow Bill YouTube channel, Facebook page, X. If you guys are not on X, I highly recommend it. It's an unfiltered source of information from all around the world, and it's becoming my favorite social media platform by far.
I can't help it. Unfiltered. Okay. Censorship. All right. So I just dealt with this with training. So I mean, it doesn't matter what the platform is, okay? It's about the individuals. When individuals are, are the one getting triggered and wanting to initiate copyright strikes, well, it don't matter what the platform is.
And so we're live streaming there. And if you guys like what I do here, consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put a link to my Patreon in the comments down below. And I have with me my good buddy Ivan. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great, my friend. Give me 1 second. Let me make this post so people on my side that want to hear it can join us.
And I'm going to share it on my page as well.
And like I said, the Ivan videos I've already done on Ivan's play-based system. You can find those over on my Rumble channel. I encourage you can go watch those there.
If you guys are watching this, go ahead and hit the share button. There's many people to interact with us if we can. And I'm looking forward to speaking with you. Last time we did a live stream, I never met you. I was kind of nervous because I didn't know you. But now I feel like I know you a bit more because I've
That's true
with you and been to your
That's very
place.
true.
And so I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Okay, so I made that post, and now I do this. Good.
And I can check on my end too if I see it.
Yeah.
Like, why not get this stuff established before you hit the switch? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you should be able to get this worked out before you hit the record button.
I think
With you last time we did a live stream.
I think I made it.
Did you make it to your personal page or to the
to my page?
TWC?
Yeah, we're there.
Okay. All right, fantastic. And people will start joining us. And do you want to tell everybody that doesn't know? I'm sure a lot of people do know who you are. You want to give a quick introduction of who you are, where you're located?
Oh boy. Yeah. I was hoping not to go there. So, yeah.
Quick.
Ivan Balbanov, as it says on the name, on the bottom of the screen here, right? Just training dogs for a very long time. I don't want to say how long.
And this is where I've mentioned this before about quarterbacking, okay? And this is why you won't hear me talking a certain way about promote myself and my back, all that. I could go on, but because you have to ask yourself the question, what are you doing? I mean, if the real problem is about what I'm saying it is, right? You're not talking about that, but then you're quarterbacking, right? You're marketing a certain way. I have a problem. I was just saying in general, I have a problem with that. They really do because it's just about marketing, right? It's just about because even when I'm talking about and understand something here, I'm talking about the focus of where the spotlight really shines. It's on the dog owner to change. Okay, that's the focus. It's not about me that way. Like I'm the messenger. I'll point people towards the right direction. I'll give people the approach, the insight and all that. But it still falls on the shoulders of that dog owner to change because it's about them and the relationship with their dog. So just understand something. So, but if you market, okay, a certain way, if I start talking about, yeah, I have the youngest police dog in Canada make a drug fine, which I do, I start talking that way. Ask yourself the question, what does that do? Okay, it brings the focus away from that very thing. It's like, oh, Dale, 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 Dale. It's not about Dale. Okay. I mean, that can get your butt. It's just like, that's why I'm very, I don't say certain things. Okay. I'm saying, I know what I'm talking about. This is the path. This is what you need to do. And people can look at my background and appreciate, don't get me wrong. I'm not embarrassed about anything. I appreciate everything I've done, but this is about, understanding the focus. Okay. I want to put that focus on that person. Say, listen, you have to do this. Isn't about my background, my experience. This is about me saying, this is it. Okay. This is the way forward. This is it. This is solid. This is what needs to happen. I'll help you every step of the way, but I don't pump myself up that way because when you do that, ask yourself the question, what does that do? What are you doing? Really? That's how I see all this stuff. So I hear these trainers talk a certain way. I already know what you're in for. Okay. Really.
A long time.
Because here's the thing is like personal success right, is an opportunity. Okay, personally, like as an individual, like I, through say police canine, the handlers, are going to have the greatest opportunity for insight that way in terms of the social aspect of the relationship. Sporting dogs, certain people who are invested a certain way, but that's still an opportunity. That can be a blown opportunity to figure this out. Understand that that's an opportunity. What are you doing with that opportunity? Are you just gonna take that now and just push forward? Like that's where I'm coming from here. So understand this stuff, how this stuff layers up to me, it's a big deal. So how I approach the dog training world, how I approach what I do is totally different. You don't hear me talking certain ways because I understand where the focus needs to be on. These trainers they have a totally different way of thinking and totally different mindset about things. They really do.
Very passionate about it. Yeah, I have done quite a bit of different stuff with dogs, from, working at shelters to being a guide dog instructor to having a pet training business to competing in IGP and have a school for dog trainers, training without conflict. But yeah, I think that's plenty for right now. Anybody that has interest, we can list where to find more if they want to. However, I doubt that people that will be listening wouldn't have a clue who I am.
Yeah.
I'm pretty loud and controversial, so it's not hard.
Yeah, but you have the
He's saying he's loud and controversial. I mean, but like I said, I talk about these trainers' ideological comfort zone. I mean, that's the problem here. Like they stay within their ideological comfort zone. They don't want to stray outside of that. So it's like even they say they're controversial. Well, based on what do they, why would you initiate a copyright strike on somebody who's actually talking about confronting the real issue? Because maybe that conversation's too uncomfortable. Well, how are they going to respond to it? See, that's the thing. You get into the actual nuts and bolts or specifics as to what's happening, why, then that's going to be a problem.
proven track record to be loud and to know what you're talking about because you've been in the industry for a very long time. You have your school. And one thing that I really like about your school.
And that's the thing too. It's like, giving any of these trainers a pass that way. I don't do any of that. It's not about, see, and that's the thing about when you get into the specifics is here is the criteria. Here's what a process is. Here's why all these, so many dogs and owners are ending up with a counterfeit picture of change. You get into the actual specifics as to, then it's not about being controversial. It's not about personalities that way. That's a good thing, right? Because here's, when you can rely on something specific, information based, it takes all that out of it. That's where I'm coming from. So, and that's the problem here. It's like all this is so much about appearances anyway, because it's all about appearances. Even I talk about, lack of depth, talk about the failure to even connect dots properly by way of, of beyond just responses, to be able to apply specific criteria. See that you can't do that if you're already, or you already established a certain way of thinking. Then how are you going to respond to what I'm saying? You're not going to want to deal with it, right? It's just so much easier because it's like, hey, I got this system here. I can make lots of money, but what are you doing? See, that's the problem here. Understand the dog training world is built on that. The entire thing. It's just a house of cards. So I'm gonna stop part one here and introductory. We're going to get into all this stuff as I move forward. You're going to know exactly where I'm coming from here, but understand that, I'm specific as to, okay, here's the problem. Here's what's going on in the dog training world. Why are these trainers just going on and you see them jumping on each other's podcasts? It's the same old, just their opinions about things. So I get into the actual specifics as to, it's not about opinions. It's about focusing in on, okay, what's the actual specifics as to what defines training. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part two.